Hi, you're watching Newsmakers, and I'm Armond Budish. The Port of Cleveland is a vital economic engine for Northeast Ohio, supporting over 23,000 jobs and generating roughly $7 billion in annual economic activity. As a major Great Lakes hub, it connects regional industries to global markets, handling 13 million tons of cargo each year, providing crucial infrastructure, maritime financing, and environmentally sustainable projects. My guest today is Davd Wondolowski. He's chairman of the Cleveland-Cuyahoga County Port Authority Board. Thank you, Dave, for coming in.
Well, thank you for having me today. Appreciate this.
Thank you. All right. So, as the chairman, what does the port do?
So the port plays a major role in the regional economy here in Cleveland. And not only are we a major shipping hub, but we also accept passengers from Great Lakes cruises, people that are enjoying the sailing on the Great Lakes. And we also play a very important role in the development and finance of construction projects in Northeast Ohio and beyond.
So many activities.
Many activities.
All right. So let's start first with traditional shipping activities. What types of stuff is shipped out of the port?
Not so much that's shipped out. We're really a big importer, so we have a lot of iron ore is our major bulk commodity for us, as well as cement, and believe it or not, palm oil. Palm oil is really big. So we also have containerized and non-containerized items that come into the port. And again, you said it, creating $7 billion of economic impact and 23,000 jobs annually.
Is the palm oil from all those palm trees we have in Cleveland?
I don't know, but I guess it's in a lot of the food and items that we use every day. Okay. I learned a lot about palm oil there.
So would it be more or less expensive to send this stuff out, back?
We're just not really doing a lot of that right now, and I don't know what impact tariffs has on that right now, but there's just not a lot going out.
What is the Cleveland-Europe Express?
So the Cleveland-Europe Express was a dedicated Antwerp to Cleveland gateway that was running weekly. Unfortunately, it's no longer on a scheduled run. And part of the reason for that is that the transatlantic vessels carry so many more containers. For example, to ship to a coastline, for example, as opposed to Cleveland or a Great Lakes port, those transatlantic vessels can carry 24,000 containers compared to 2,500 on a Great Lakes vessel. So from an economic standpoint, unfortunately, at this point, it's making more sense to ship to the coastlines than it is to ship to the Great Lakes.
I know that it was unique when it started, and the port, I think, was actually subsidizing it for a little while.
Yeah, it's being done through Split-Off, one of our major partners, and really, it was really something special and exciting, and we really celebrated it at the time. But right now, due to tariffs and the cost of everything, it's just making more sense for them to run to the coastlines as opposed to the Great Lakes.
So the port's not subsidizing it at this point?
That's correct. And the St. Lawrence Seaway can only hold a ship that carries the 2,500 containers. It can never take a transatlantic vessel.
All right. So can the port be operated during the all year round or winter also?
Well, it would make things very challenging, especially like this last winter when the lake was completely frozen. But more importantly, the St. Lawrence Seaway shuts down major operations for maintenance in January and February each year. So there's really no way for us to get ships through the locks there.
So about how many months a year does the port actually operate?
I'm probably on an average of 9 to 9.5 months.
That's still pretty
Quite a
good.
bit.
Yeah. Do we get cruises in Cleveland?
We do. Last year we had 53 calls and 7,800 members. 7,800 passengers that came through Cleveland. So the ships board at the North Coast Harbor, the passengers on board and get onto buses and enjoy great areas of Cleveland, whether it's sporting events or museums or cultural areas that we have here. And it's special because I'm sure for many of those passengers, it's the first time that they get to see our city. And I would have to imagine, and I'm quite confident that many of them plan to come back and do come back to Cleveland to spend more time here, because they only get a day here when they're on these ships. So I'm certain that they do come back. But we are currently in discussions about reimagining what that onboarding process looks like, and how they onboard and what they see when they onboard, to try to make that more eye appealing. Right now it's a lot of concrete out there, so we would like to do something a little better. Your friend and mine, Director Zone Fisher, who sits on our board, is always touting a duty-free store down there. So maybe one day we'll have that there for her.
Be nice.
But definitely looking to make the experience even better than it is now.
And do the cruise ships that come in Cleveland, do they go around the Great Lakes? Or
They do. They start up in, I believe, up in Canada, and they come down through that way into the Great Lakes, and they have several stops that they make.
All right, let's shift gears for a minute. Apart from the normal shipping and cruise, port stuff, is the port very involved in other economic development?
Highly involved in economic development. Through the powers vested in us by the state of Ohio, we have the authority to issue bonds, just like any city or county does. So, and with those bonds comes tax advantages. So if you bond a project through the Port Authority, you don't pay sales tax on the construction materials that you use to build your building. So it's very lucrative for developers. Oftentimes it's the piece of their capital stack that they badly need to close the deal. And I'm proud to say that the port is involved in many projects. Last year, we were involved in 17 projects alone that was responsible for almost $800 million in construction costs, just our bonds.
And that's not just economic development related to cargo and shipping. That could be economic development related to building an office building.
That's exactly what it is. Correct. So we have two forms of commerce there. We have the shipping, and then we have the development finance. And we collect fees on the development finance as well, which we then reinvest in the community.
So where does the port get its money to put into financing projects around the county?
It's really something that's so misunderstood. We actually don't get money. We issue the bonds, and then we take the bonds out to the private market, and they're bought by investors who then, that's the way we produce the money for the market. So it's really an interesting and innovative way to help fund projects, and really a benefit to developers coming to Cleveland and wanting to invest their money here. We create a lot of construction jobs.
Yeah, great. And that's related to one of your other jobs, which is head of the building trades here in Northeast Ohio.
Executive Secretary and Business Manager of the Building Trades Union. So it does complement the work that we do there.
All right. So when I was both in the State House as the Speaker and the Cuyahoga County Executive, I was often told about the terrible catastrophe would be if the Irishtown Bend fell into the river. And it was leaning that way. I mean, it was happening. What's the port involvement in that, if any?
So we were told by a number of experts that there was a potential for some sort of partial or full collapse of Irishtown Bend into the waterway. And for those familiar with that waterway there, we have a lot of recreational boating, kayaking, but more importantly, it's the way that we take ore down to the steel mill. So it's a major shipping channel for us. And that could have been devastating. So we worked with a number of stakeholders, including the Cleveland Metro Parks, to raise money totaling $65 million to actually shore up that embankment and put in new bulkheads that'll last, I'm sure, at least a century or more, that is going to really ensure that shipping channel stays open. And it's also going to, there's a bit of a beautification to it as well, because that's all going to be park-like area now. It's going to be managed by the Metro Parks, our good friends there who do a great job with everything they touch. And so it's really an exciting time. I can't wait to see it finished. I was down there for a tour recently, and the grading is beautiful, and it really looks good, and I'm certainly excited about the future of Irishtown Bend.
I was down at Merwin's Wharf not that long ago, and from there you can look across the river and see the Irishtown Bend development going on. It's really exciting to see it finally
It really
happening.
was. It created a lot of construction jobs, and it was a lot of hard work during harsh conditions, but it was finally got done. And I really have to acknowledge our port staff for the work that they did there, and all the work that the men and women did in the construction phase.
The word these days has been lakefront development. A lot of focus on lakefront development. The county's focused on it. The city of Cleveland's focused on it. Lots of the neighboring communities are focused on it. Is the port involved in lakefront development?
That's a great question. And of course we are. Jeff Epstein, our CEO, has a seat on the North Coast Waterfront Development Authority, led by Scott Skinner, another really talented young man that I think is going to really help reshape that lakefront with the board that he has. Really looking forward to the progress there. It's probably one of the things that this region can't see happen fast enough. You and I, for years, have heard about the closure of Burke and a potential closure, really ad nauseum. But whether or not it happens, we will see. But the land bridge will be up first, and plans are continuing on that. And then I think...
Where will the land bridge be located?
It will start from the convention center and that area, Lakeside Avenue, and run right down to the lake. So it's going to be really interesting. I don't know that the plans are fully completed yet, but some of the drawings and renderings I've seen are really beautiful, and it's exciting.
If anybody's been to Columbus or to Ohio State, the Short North area has a land bridge sort of road that has been built up, and it's really exciting there. Mm-hmm. So it's great to see it happening here in Ohio.
It's going to be nice to have the access and the speed of access from the convention center down to the lake, that you'll be able to walk down in about 4 minutes as compared to 12 or 15 now. So it'll be nice.
All right. The city and the county are both focusing on the lakefront development, as we talked about. The port received a grant recently from the U.S. EPA Clean Ports Program. What is that? So
that is an effort to electrify the port. So we are actually taking our main warehouse and we're installing solar panels on the roof. We're redoing the warehouse completely, in fact. And we are purchasing a lot of equipment, including cranes, reach stackers, and forklifts that are electric. So, and we will have, at some point in the near future, we will have electric tugboats. So we will be running mean, lean, and clean at the Port of Cleveland. So really looking forward to that. It'll be quieter, cleaner, better for the environment, safer for our employees that work there. These are really innovative machinery. We just had a reach stacker discussion from the supplier, and these are really neat pieces of machinery that have all the bells and whistles and safety precautions included on them. So I'm really excited about all that comes with the electrification of the port.
What's the timing on that?
We're involved in it right now. We look to be done probably in the next few years.
Okay, things are happening. That's what we like to hear.
Yes.
And you've always been a person that gets things done. That's really exciting that I don't know how you made the time to chair the port board. Is that an elected position?
It's an appointed position, and then I'm elected chair by my peers, my colleagues on
That's
the board.
what I
It's just
meant,
reelected unanimously, but it is a lot of work, and I look at it as civic involvement and civic engagement, and it's necessary. And as you know from your days as county executive, it's not easy to find people that really want to delve into these positions that don't really pay much and take a lot of time. But it's really important, and I'm really proud of the work that myself and my colleagues there do.
Before you, or after you, I know that you mentioned Peggy Zone Fisher is a friend of mine and yours on the board. Is
Yes.
she involved in the leadership?
She is. She's actually vice chair. Yes.
Ah,
Yeah.
So you work closely with
I
her?
work very closely with her. Yeah, she's great.
Great. All right. Well, let's wrap this up. I want to thank you very much for your time here today. And I want to also thank you for the time you spend as port chairman.
Thank you.
Because it's a big job.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you all for joining us today. Please come back.